I cover my cakes in fondant. I've done this video a couple of times. Something always is going wrong. Too loud in the background, he was hungry, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I am using Fonderific. They say that you don't have to use any cornstarch or powdered sugar, but I find that it sticks to my tabletop. And I have one of those fondant mat things, and when I roll it out on that, then the fondant sticks to the mat and it won't roll off onto my cake. So I don't like the mat so much, and I'm not a huge fan of Fonderific so far. I mean, there's certain things that I like about it. It is forgiving if you get a pinch like at the bottom of your tier of your cake and it folds together. We've all had that. You can pretty much smooth it down and get that away. So it's forgiving in that aspect. If you have your cake covered and you go to push it, you know, or move it or pick it up, it's going to show your thumbprints. It's going to pick up all the wrinkles in your hands. Like if you bump it for a second, like just there, I tapped it and it wasn't very hard at all, but you know how you can get things nicked. And if you can see that right there, there's an indent, and you know, a pretty big indent in the fondant after I rolled it. Let me move it over here. What, bud? You want down? Okay. Come on. Oh, we go. Okay. So those are the things that I don't really like about it. And then some of the things I do like about it. I'm sick right now, so you guys are going to hear me cough and all kinds of stuff. But these are just display cakes, so it doesn't really matter if they get all germy. I got this new fondant smoother on Amazon. It was like almost $30, I think. And it is amazing. Like right now, I can almost smooth out that dent that was in there from my finger. I really, really, really like this smoother, even though it seems ridiculous to pay that much for it. What? You get down here. Get down here. Okay, I like to take off the sharp edge on my dummy cakes. Like here's a new one. And I just take the edge off with like a little bit of sandpaper. I make the edge kind of rounded slightly. I don't like a lot of round on them. I just like them slightly rounded. It makes it easier and your fondant doesn't tear as much. Okay, so now I'm going to moisten my drum. I use vodka because it tends to dry better, quicker. It doesn't stick to your table as much. I mean, it will. And I don't like using Crisco because my cake's yellow. It yellows the dummies. Just a second, my son went upstairs. Okay, I'm back. He wanted to go play in his room. I don't remember exactly where I was. I moistened my dummy. I don't like to use Crisco because it yellows the dummies. And if you have a hard time with it attaching down here, you can go back later on with a water pen and just kind of paint it. You'll see me do that later. Okay, so I've rolled out my fondant. I don't ever get my fondant perfect, so good for you if you can. It's always slightly uneven. I use a little chart over here that I got with the Fondant thing, and it tells me how much to use per tier. This is an 8-inch, 4 inches tall, so it's telling me to use 16 ounces or 1 pound of fondant. So I'm just going to peel this up, bring my cake on over, and I'm just going to wrap it on. Okay, now I'm going to let that kind of wrinkle down, and you can see that I not down to the edge of my cake here. And that's okay, because, well, this is not even wet now. Okay, let me respray. You know, that kind of stuff happens when you got kids and they take up your time. Okay. Again, I don't have it perfect on this side, but I have a lot of extra, so I'm going to try to flop it on over if I can. I don't like how much the dummy cakes move. It drives me nuts. So, I like to tape a flour nail to the top of my work surface and then put my cake on there. What, Bubba? Just a minute. I'll help you in just a minute. So, at first I use my hands, even though the Fonderific takes on your hand prints and stuff. I use my hands at first. And I like the flour nail because it allows you to still turn the cake. Sometimes your fondant sticks to the table, but usually it's okay. And I just start going around my cake. I can tell this time my fondant's gonna stick, so I'm not really gonna be able to turn my cake like I'd like to. But I just kind of pull it out and smooth it down. And if you get a little crease, be careful and just use your finger to kind of push that little crease out. Now hopefully I can pick this up, and there we go. I got a piece stuck to me. If you pull your fondant out, then you don't get those creases as much. Yeah, I call it the skirt. Like if you make sure you have a pretty good sized skirt, you won't get these pinches in it as often. It's getting real thin right there, so I don't want to mess with it too much. Afraid I might tear it. And the smaller your cake is, the harder it is to cover. Okay. I'm gonna go take a break and be a mom. Okie dokie, I'm back. Okay. So I use the fondant smoother that I don't like so much on the top to hold it in place while I, do the little tap down. You can tell that on this side anyway, because the flour nail is underneath there, it's tilting my cake a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. I use a little palette knife to cut off around the cake, but not all the way to the edge of the cake, because I find if I cut like down here, it cuts off the fondant funny, and I don't like how that looks. And sometimes you can cut it too short and then you see your cake. So then your whole fondant job is kind of pointless. Okay, so you're gonna get something that is slightly smaller than the cake that you have down. You're gonna get a palette knife or whatever you want to use, your icer, and you're gonna set it on top of this. And then take your flour nail away so you don't impale yourself on it. Who wants that? Oop, the hazards of cake decorating. Who knew you could impale yourself, right? And I just push down, I got a piece in there. Push down those edges that are sticking up from being, on the table. Okay, then, if I can get closer, I'm going to show you guys how I cut it. So let me see if I can't zoom in. And you'll see that I don't have a perfect edge of my cake either. Maybe if I get right on top there. Come back out. Is that any better?
Mom.
There. What, bud?
I'll
help you in a minute. Okay, just in a second, honey. I gotta cut this off. Now, other fondants might dry out, or they do dry out quicker than the Fonderific, which is nice because, again, being a mom, you saw that I had to go and help him upstairs, or you have to take a mom break, or you have to go to the bathroom, or you need to eat. You can come back to it, and it's still going to be pliable. That's the great thing about the Fonderific. But at the same time, when you're trying not to put a ding in your cake, it's not so great because you accidentally bump it or something. Okay, now some of these spots are not sticking, so I'm going to use my water pen and get under there. Come back in if there's any spots here, and attach it to the side of the cake again. I'm coming up. I'm going to come up as soon as I get this done, honey bun. So now I'm going to set this down here. And if I don't have it all cut perfectly, I'm gonna have to come back and recut it. Smooth around the edge. If you want to smooth your fondant down, see if I'm even in view here. Okay, I am. If you want to smooth the fondant down to the table, you can. Yes, Jax? I'm gonna come up and help you, honey. Just a minute. Give Mommy a break here. And then I keep getting little pieces that are on the tabletop stuck in the top of my fondant. So try to keep your fondant smooth.
Mommy,
You don't talk to Mama like that. I'm not coming up there when you yell like that. Stop. Okay. Let me finish this. Just a minute, honey. Okay. This is where you can come back in and do it. Real careful. And cut off the excess from smoothing. Okay, now I'm going to pop this up and tap those under. Peel off anything that you kind of had to cut off. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see my edge. I mean, it's not completely perfect, of course, but there's no pinch spots in it. I do have an air bubble here.
Mommy.
So we're going to smooth that out, and if I need to go back and do a water pen, I will. So that's essentially it for how I cover my dummy cakes.